Hello everyone, welcome back. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody. I am still here and still planning on streaming. One of the perks of having small children is you usually have to be home at a certain hour to put them to bed, which means I have time to stream in the evening. So tonight my plan is to hopefully go through and get through as many material design pull requests as I can. There's currently only 9 outstanding, and so at least get them all into a mergeable state and set into a milestone, because I would love to be able to get 301 out the door. There's a couple bugs in there that I think are somewhat critical to try to get out sooner, so I don't want to delay this one too much. And at minimum, get some of the other things kind of queued up. Some of the pull requests have some breaking changes, so obviously they're going to get pushed into a future release and not just a point release. So I'm going to plow through some of those. We will get going here. Let me switch my... That one. Great. Okay, so jumping back here. So here's the list of pull requests. I was kind of poking at stuff last night, and I'll just talk through this one really quick if anybody wants to take a crack at it. So I went through, I did a little bit of work on this, rebased, made a list of to-do items that still need to be done on this. There's a couple things that I'm not 100% sure about. So overall, I like this concept. There's been a request for this for a while. It's been known under different names, but basically for the drawer host, basically this idea of being able to, rather than just having it come out over the top, there's the idea of it stays open. There's currently these top 2 options, standard and stays open. There are ways of getting this behavior with the current stuff. This thing's really adding in this pinned behavior. So this idea of, rather than an overlay, it pushes in from the side and kind of shoves the content over. That way you can have something that's there. And obviously with the pin stuff, it is sort of by definition not light dismiss, because it still lets you interact with the content over in this area. So there is that's the intent behind this. But as going along with this, there's a couple things that are worth noting. So one, there's sort of an outstanding question I have on the naming of what this thing should be called. So if people have strong opinions, I'd love to see some comments on it. Pull request 789, if that isn't clear. The other thing that is going to happen is this thing is removing all of the bools for like light dismiss left door or left drawer click away. I don't remember the exact name. So this guy's going to end up getting rid of all of those booleans, which is why this thing is currently set in the 4.0 release, because that's very much a breaking change to go through and remove that stuff. Because we could leave them in and have it not be a breaking change, but it would then be a functionally breaking change, because things would just, if anybody who was leveraging those, it just wouldn't work. So it didn't feel like that was worth leaving in. I felt like it was better to give people a compile error rather than let them think everything was fine and then they run their app and realize, oh shoot, no it's not. Especially since testing that light dismiss could be a sort of a subtle thing that you might not catch right away. So those properties would be, with this pull request, would end up going away in favor of this open mode. Now the one thing that this isn't doing, so this sets this open mode, however the big difference here is previously the functionality would allow you to have some of your drawers, like the left and right one, be light dismiss, and then the top and the bottom one not light dismiss. I don't know how many people are doing it. It feels like a really weird UX. So I'm sort of okay with abandoning that functionality, but it is worth noting you wouldn't be able to control those independently. So if there's somebody out there who is trying to control those independently, leave me a comment, let me know. That'd be great to know about before I go off and do something crazy like shoot myself in the foot and take it away. So just be aware, that's where this one's sitting. I have it in the 4.0 release just because I didn't want to get too carried away. So I was going to just sort of work up from the bottom, largely for the idea of just trying to clean up some of these old ones. I do apologize for everybody who kind of got backlogged in here. At one point in time, I had the pull requests almost cleared out, and then the .NET 3.0 stuff took a long precedent, or it took a long time to get out the door, and then ended up blocking and chewing stuff up. So for everybody who's been waiting for a very long time, I am sorry, but I do intend to try and clear these out. So this is the one we're going to start with. I think most of it is fairly good. There's been a few minor changes. This one isn't that big. I'm a little less concerned with looking at this diff right now and more interested in just going ahead and dealing with these conflicts here, right? And maybe we should look through this a little closer. So this is ultimately going through the disabled text box border thickness and then fixes bug 893 and 912. So I think I've got 893 open here. And I kind of want to see what 912 is. We'll take a look. Oh, I'm misreading it. 912 is the number for this pull request. Okay, now I feel stupid. Okay, so disable text box border bug thickness. So rather than stroke thickness of 1 1/4, it's being bound. Let's see, division math converter. So what is this binding to? The border thickness of the toggle button, and then doing division of 0.75. Okay, I kind of want to come back and look at that. This guy just adds in the converter, which I assume is being used. Same math here. So we'll go take a look at that and see what exactly that's doing. Looks like the same thing on all of these. So same thing on the text box and the password box. So let's take a look, because I'm interested in seeing what this border is. So let's expand this guy out. Kind of just want to go until these two guys meet in the middle. Okay. So this guy here is looking at the element name of border, which is element name of border here. Border thickness uses the border brush, and then does division math converter, which I believe this just divides the value by the parameter. So why would dividing by this fix this bug? So let's back up. What is the bug? Text box with border thickness 0 shows underline in disabled state. Ah, so somebody set the border thickness explicitly. Got it. And so this thing defaults a border thickness of 1 divided by 0.75. Okay, yeah. 1 divided by 3/4 gives you 1 1/4. Got it. So by allowing that, you can effectively control this. Okay, I think that makes sense. Makes sense to me. So the next bit then is let's get this guy rebased, because this is currently having conflicts. So step 1, open up Get Kraken, double click on the pull request, go ahead and check it out. And this is going to go way back in time. Way back in time. The next thing to do is make sure that my master branch is in sync, which it is, which is great. And then we are going to simply rebase. Well, hold on. Before we get too carried away, take me back down to here. Let's see. This is a merge, and this guy is a single commit. Okay. I was going to contemplate squashing commits if there was a bunch of them, because sometimes that can make the rebase a little simpler, but especially if there's only a small number of changes. So we will just rebase straight onto master, and away we go. Okay, so there's the conflicts. Let's take a look. So we've got a math converter with operation divide. So we definitely want that guy to come in. And I think we probably want converter, converter, converter. Right? And then the next bit is, I think I want the white space, material design text box base. Yeah, because this pull request isn't trying to change that, so we don't need any of that. So let's jump down here. Okay, so this is where it's going to get weird. So because this is the new stroke thickness here. And this is the new stuff here. So ultimately, what I'm really looking to change is this guy right here to bring in this line. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to take this wholesale, what I'm going to, oh, come on, let me copy and paste. No. Let's see here. Is this on its own line? It's not. Yuck. Okay, so we're going to go back to, let's see. So back down to text box, this guy here, and we're going to grab this lovely binding. So copy, come down here, because ultimately this is all about changing this guy out. Paste. And move you down a line. Okay. That should do the trick. And save. Okay, let's do the next one. So same type of thing here. We'll bring in the converter, then this, then this. Great, so that's the resulting bit down here. Okay, so once again, this is the line that's actually in question. So we probably want this, but I want this binding. So we'll go back here, go back up to the, that's ComboBox. This is password box, right? We're looking at password box. Password box, great. So this is the binding we need. Switch back, and feels weird to be editing outside of the diff, but whatever. Something like that. Great. Save. Continue rebase. Okay. Now we test it. So in theory, we probably should have looked at it prior to see what it looked like. I think it should be fairly straightforward because before the stroke thickness was hard-coded, so this line would always be visible even if it was disabled. Wait a minute, border thickness in disabled state. But visibility has been, now I'm confused. So if it's disabled, text box with border thickness, I'm not opposed to this, because I think leaving you in control of it's probably better. For some reason, border thickness is ignored. Is enabled state false? We might test this on master too real quick just to verify that this is in fact a bug, because there's a very real chance that this might not be an actual issue. What was that error? You made a what? Okay, so what do we got going on here? Hold on. Oh, look at that. Oh, because we haven't merged the other thing in. Dang it. Okay. We need .NET Core again. So the short version is the issue is right now the library is pointed at 3.0 release, and I do not have that installed. I only have 3.1 installed. So this thing fails to set up and compile, which is less than ideal. And there is an outstanding pull request to update it to 3.1, which is what this library is going to do, because .NET Core 3.1.0 is going to be the long-term supported version. So at least for now, that's where we're going to sit. I'm not going to try and make too many predictions about which version we update to next. We're going to try to keep progressing forward, because I suspect most people who are able to run on .NET Core, the supporting older versions is usually less of an issue with the .NET Core apps because you can ship the runtime alongside of your app. It's not one of those. It's not the same situation as .NET Framework where you're dependent upon what the system has installed. Yeah, sure, great. Install, please. Then we should be able to relaunch. I think I avoided doing this last week only because we were working on actually doing the update to 3.1. There is a branch that's sitting out there if anyone wants to take a stab at it, called .NET Core 3.1. The only thing that's outstanding, I think most of this stuff is all updated correctly. There's a global.json, all of that jazz, all ready to go. The one thing that's missing is the packet stuff, I believe needs to be updated because the version of packet we have in here doesn't know anything about .NET Core 3.1. So that just needs to be updated to support it as well. Okay, great. So if anyone wants to take a crack at getting that updated and getting that pull request in, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm going to take a stab at it. Okay, so look at that. Now all my projects load. Reload projects. Demo set. Great, great. Everyone's happy. Launch. We'll go through and see about getting this guy set up. And holiday Mountain Dew tonight. My wonderful family allowed me to have a nap today, so I feel refreshed. Let's see. Does not have a target. What? That sounds like a rebuild. That looks like there is old stuff sitting around. So collapse that. And hopefully, what are you? You have an update? Oh, look at that. A ReSharper update. I'll have to remember to grab that. Man, I got updates all over the place. I got to pay more attention. Live share. Oh, that was from last week's. Ooh, 16.4.2 is available. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Rebuild all succeeded. Great. Launch, please. Oh, you're actually going to cancel. We are not going to update my Visual Studio right now. That sounds like a bad idea. Okay, so here we go. And fields. So disabled. So I am curious to look at these ones here, right? Because this should be our I'm disabled. So let's take a look at this guy, because this is really what we're looking to change, right? Is enabled false, verify border thickness still plays a role in it. So text fields and is enabled false, I'm disabled. So let's go with border thickness 0, 0, 0, I don't know, 20. Let's go huge just to make it really painfully obvious. That is painfully obvious. Okay. Smaller, since I don't understand the dashed effect. And more importantly, we can zero it out. And it goes away. Great. I would say that looks like success to me. Let's just do this. So let's verify we can zero out it on the... because it should be the same behavior. Because right now on both the combo box and the password box, it's similar look. So we'll just verify that we can do that. And all of those disappear. Great. Verify we can make them big. That looks good to me. Okay, sweet. Ship it. Okay, so we will take this guy here. We don't want the demo changes, so discard changes. This thing looks fine. We're going to force push because we had to do a rebase on master to bring it up. And then we will let the CI system will pick it up here in a minute. And let's get the issue logged as well. So, yeah, refresh please, and come over to the conversations. This is going in 301 because there's non-breaking changes. That guy's going to go in there. And we'll let this thing, we'll let the CI system verify the push. Come on, trigger, show me the checks. Come on, there you go. There you go. Okay, next one up. Work in progress. Support use of color zone assist in ComboBox. Right. Okay, so basically the problem is that when using the combo boxes, they try to divine the background color for their pop-up based upon the control that they're sitting inside of, which can be somewhat problematic. And so what we want to do is we want to go through and actually adjust it so that there can be some level of control. Let's see. So this guy here, I'm guessing, once again, has conflicts. So let's take a little quick peek at the changes, and then we'll see what we need to do. So this is in the demo app, so it's adding a combo box so that we have something to test with. Great. I approve of that. This is in the text fields combo box. That's fine. Color zone assist mode. Got it. So this is testing out the attached property here. Okay. Some adjustments around grids and rows, which I'm assuming this is probably one of the conflicts. At some point, I might want to reorder this. The grid control is wonderful, but old pull requests tend to get very, very problematic. What I may end up doing is axing most of these changes and manually copying and pasting them in, and just dropping them in the relevant spot, because trying to do that sort of merge can be miserable. Let's see here. So background property. Let's see. So dependency property, background, type of brush, type of combo box pop-up, which is where this guy lives. So this is allowing the setting of that background property. Default of brush, which will be null. And then this is the old code where it would walk up its visual hierarchy looking for where this thing sits. Now, I'm not entirely sure. This guy may be breaking. This guy probably needs to go in 310, I'm guessing. Yeah, in general, I try to make sure that my point releases mean that you don't have to make code changes if you don't want to, and stuff should be less broken than when you updated. Let's see here. So underline brush property, underline brush, set get, great. Underline brush property, underline brush property. There is a bit of a dish. No, that's there. Okay. So this guy is using the transparent brush by default. I'll want to look at this because this technically using the transparent brush is different than not having a brush. The difference comes with hit testing. A transparent brush is hit test will actually resolve when doing hit testing, whereas no brush won't. It's somewhat of a common problem that you run into where you're trying to hit test on, say, a grid or some other container control where you don't have a background and it doesn't hit. And the usual version is there's a difference between not having a brush and having a transparent brush. Similar thing when you're drawing like path icons, that sort of thing. If you want to make sure the whole area is clickable rather than just the area that has the color in it. Usually what you want to do is set a background to transparent, and then the whole area is clickable. So let's see here. On our, so this is on the underline style. Primary hue, mid brush. So this is, let's see, what is this doing here? So before the background was being set to just the primary hue mid brush. Now the text field assist underline brush is being set. And the background is set to that property. It works. I'm just wondering if that's the... If I set one, do I really expect both to change? Because the weird part about this is if somebody were to explicitly set this property, both of these properties change, right? But if they were to explicitly set this property, only this property changes. That's where it feels weird. I almost wonder if both of these should just both be the dynamic resource. We'll check that. That might be worth considering because that is a subtle difference between doing this binding. Like in some cases it makes sense to try and keep two things in sync, but then the question should always be, if I set property A, do I expect B to also change with it? And if I set B, do I expect A to change? And when you do this sort of binding thing where one of them set to a dynamic resource and the other set to a binding, it's a one-way street. So, okay, so down here, what do we got? So this is the underline control. Text field assist underline brush. So this is propagating the attached property from the templated parent down onto the underline control. Okay. Okay. So let's see, color zone assist. What is this set on? So this is on the ComboBox pop-up. Color zone assist mode. Binding path, color zone assist mode. Interesting. Okay. And then we've got background properties, etc. The underline. Some multi-data triggers. Okay, this is going to be a hard one to look through. This is going to be a hard one to look through. At minimum, I think we can safely assume that this guy needs to go. Oh, I've already put it in 3.10. I think we're going to come back to this because that one's going to take a decent amount of time to get through. Let's get this guy merged. So, because this guy's going in 3.01. Great. Squash merge. Thank you. Sorry it took so long to get it merged. Confirm squash merge, and in we go. Okay, so that one's in. And now this guy's closed, and everyone's happy. Okay, so we're going to keep working our way up. Let's see, time picker, added intervals. Okay. So let's see here. What is the linked item here? Time picker control, disabled hours, minutes. Yeah, so there was a bunch of discussion for how to do this. This guy kind of relates to this, so let's see what it is. There's conflicts, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at these. These files changed. So we've got white space indentation. So step 1, hide white space changes for now, please. Okay. So XAML display stuff, XAML display stuff, time picker, hours interval, minutes interval. The question is this good enough, or do we want to look at alternate ways of doing blackout stuff? Yeah, I'm thinking this type of format might be better rather than just straight intervals. Real quick, let's see. Material design picker. Let's see. Just show me the. I want to look at the spec and see, because I don't think. Let's see. Where are the components? Environment layout. There. Oh, components. That's where I want. Okay. So there should be a picker, and I don't know if there is any indication that the time picker has. See, I saw a request for this here to be able to select a range. That would be nice. This may require some fancy work since we're just theming the existing control, but let's see, mobile input picker, date picker, date pickers, date pickers. Yeah. Show me the time pickers, desktop pickers. Same thing. Theming, yeah. Where is the... Where is the time picker? Let's see here. How about clock, maybe? O-C-K. I can spell. Most days I can spell. Query builder. This is not... See, and I'm not sure... There may not be a great... let's see. Because these were just calendar pickers, not time pickers. The time picker we have a little more control over, because this is our control, not necessarily the built-in one. So, for example. Right? So this is our own control. So we get to be in charge of how it works. Maybe let's do that. Well, let's think about this for a moment. So let's see here. I think copy link. So I think what we're going to do is close this out. I think rather than allowing intervals to be done, we will simply allow blacking out. Minutes. And we'll just do a link back into that other one. And then I think we're going to close this one for now. If anyone has strong opinions about the interval stuff and you really want to see it, just because I close something doesn't necessarily mean discussion's over. It just means that I don't think that it's the right option for here. So let's take care of that. Take care of that. Let's carry on. So implement rounded corners text box. So what is, because existing a large radius corner. So I think, I want to test this because I think this has since been fixed. So what was the test case that they were doing here? So hint text field corner radius 10. Let's see, 1050 radius. I don't understand the 1050 radius if this is only set to 10. Oh, I see. Height of 50, corner rate. I got it. I got it. That's what that's trying to indicate. The height. It's interesting this one doesn't follow those. So I think, let's see, what was this? Filled text box. Okay, I kind of want to test this on latest and see how this looks, because I think this has been addressed with some other changes that were done. So we're gonna take a quick look. Did I see a new pull request? Oh, look at this. Speaking of which, this is also in the same area. Let's take a quick peek. What's this fixing? I already fixed this issue, but currently I think oops. I wonder if that was me. So let's take a quick look. What is this issue? Question, remove. Hey, this looks exactly this one. Okay, so that's gonna go there. Let's see. Looks like a bug because it was fixed prior and not fixed now. So we're gonna just test both of these and shoot them both in at the same time. Cool. So let's see. Text fields. Where are we going? Why am I lost? There we are. Okay, so this was specifically around, I believe it was the filled, because the existing outline filled styles are here. Floating radius corner. So these ones are the two in question, which do have the floating hint. And so I think the question is it worth having an option that doesn't deal with those? Okay, so let's take a look at this. So if we set a height of 50 and a let's see. So I think these are the key sets. Right, so let's go back here and look at text fields and set these. So let's see. Okay, that's just that. Vertical alignment top. Floating hint in a box. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just make sure I'm looking at the right one. Nope. In fact, I don't see enabled one anywhere. Let's see here. Paste. Okay, why are you so unhappy? Resharper, I think you've lost your mind. Let's see. Resharper options. I think if I just blow away your cache, that usually helps. So we'll restart Visual Studio here in a moment, but I think for now we're going to clear some of this. Okay, so now when I go here, I definitely expect to see fields. Enabled one. So we are looking at the right one. And so this filled text field box. So I guess the question though is what advantage does this gain, right? Filled text box, mirror design text box, ripple on focus enabled, underline corner radius. So the height is problematic because the height is almost assuredly part of this problem. I wonder why this guy isn't hot reloading well for me. Let's relaunch. Does this guy have a fixed height? He might have a fixed height, which could be contributing to the problem. See, I'm not sure this really adds much. Like just the text field corner radius. Let's go back. I want to try to make sure I'm understanding this. Create a new because the existing outline field style inherit from floating hint text box, which looks not good when applying large corner radius. But the changes here, like the new styles don't do much. Okay, let's look at the existing one here, right? Let's see. So this guy here, the implication is this based on floating hint text box is the problem, right? But floating hint text box just sets this to true. So if you don't like this, you set this to false. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't think this adds much value here. It just adds more styles that people have to know about and use, and I'd much rather people just take one of the existing ones, and if they don't want the hint, you just set it to false. Because this style literally is only adding one attached property. And more importantly, if these styles are useful to you, go ahead and add these in your app.xaml and reference them. I'm struggling to, because I know there was corner radius problems in older versions, but I would argue this looks reasonable. I think those are reasonably taken care of. So I think for now this is no longer an issue. Is still an issue in the 3.0 release. The corner radius appears fine. So we're going to close that guy out and let that guy go away. This arguably would have been falling under the enhancement, but we aren't not gonna merge. Okay, so now this guy here. So let's take a look at this. This one I think is probably a simple merge. So if has filled text field is true and is floating is false, set the margin here, otherwise set the margin to 0. That's probably okay. My only question is, so hold on, let's is floating. Okay, so it's basically the space being allocated for the floating hint is basically still being allocated here is the problem, right? So the margin that was put there for the floating hint. So this, when this is true, so filled text box is true and floating is false, so we don't have a floating hint. The content margin gets a bottom margin of 8 and the hint margin gets set to 0. So I want to look at these two properties. So where is there a margin being set on this guy? Hint. Binding. So I don't see a hint. a margin being set on the hint. There, hint opacity. This guy here. Has filled text field. So has field text field. Got it. That guy was setting it here. This guy is effectively unsetting it based upon is floating. Got it. Because order of triggers matter. Last in wins, basically, is how it plays out. So this guy unsets it. So let's look at this guy. And so this guy here before was getting a margin of 8 on the top, and now he's getting 0. Okay, does he have a default margin set? This is a scroll viewer, and he's not getting one set. Okay, so this is fine. I guess my only question is, do we need let's check this out real quick, because I have a hunch that there is a, let's see, pull up master, switch back. Let's see. Go ahead and discard those changes. I no longer need this branch, so discard that. No longer need this remote, discard that. Okay, so the only thought I have is that we might need this on more than just the text box, right? Because usually, as we saw just a second ago, password box typically has the same bugs as text box, because their templates are very, very similar. So fields. So this goes here. So let's see. Was this screenshot? No. So is floating font false? But we want the filled one. See, and I'm wondering if we're gonna. So let's go and set both of these guys, right? So let's jump back. This guy here. Let's make sure I get on the right property. Hint assist is floating. That's the magical one we want. So hint assist is floating. Oh, that's your problem. You can't figure out my target framework. That's why you've lost your mind. So this guy here. That is interesting. We'll look at that in a minute. Because that's probably not completely related. So let's see. That's not the problem. This guy. So that looks better for the password box, but why are you offset, right? Shouldn't you two be lining up straight? Fire up Snoop. Oh, I wonder if last week we ran into a problem where Snoop wasn't able to snoop the app, and I'm wondering if it's because I was running on Netcore 3.1 instead of 3.0. Maybe. Possibly. Okay, let's snoop this guy. So, for those people who haven't used Snoop before, you fire up the app, you grab these little crosshairs next to the binoculars and drag them over your application. And then the super secret, totally awesome shortcut is you put your mouse over the thing you want to look at and press Control and Shift together. And it'll just, as you're holding down Control and Shift, as your mouse moves over things, you can just move around until you find the element you want, and then it shows up over here, which is great. So the question I have, though, is why my hint is off on this one but not this one. So the first question I have is the height difference, right? So the actual height on here is 47. And what is the height down here? If I go up to my password box, 39. So one, this guy up here has more height for some reason, and I don't know why. So where are we? This is not what I care about. This is what I care about, right? Yep. Okay, so we're going to figure out where the difference is in all of these guys. Love. There, that'll work. Not quite what I need. Close, but not quite. No, that would actually be a nice feature. Yeah, that is Metal Slug. That's an amazing feature. Yeah, the Snoop stuff is basically my absolute favorite. You can get something similar with the Visual Studio Live Visual Tree stuff here. The big difference is Snoop is a lot better at letting you edit properties and just move stuff around, and so I tend to use it, especially for something like this where I'm just trying to track down where something is and then figure out what I need to change, because Snoop will just let me start moving stuff around until I figure out what the appropriate thing is that needs to be modified, and then we just go change it in the code. Okay, so we still have this height problem. So this little search bar up here is also a wonderful feature, because I can filter it down to height there, and let's just start, because you'll notice we can track our way in. Because these two controls have nearly identical templates, we can just kind of follow and see, okay, well, the difference is inside the border on each of these, so let's move inside the border and maybe look at the grid. Let's see here. So inside of the border, go down into password field grid. Is that where we're at? Text field grid. Yeah, let's look at those. So text field grid 31, password field grid 23, so it's probably inside. Smart hint, let's look there, 15 and 15, so it's not in the hint. Content host, those are both the same. Stack panel, this guy doesn't have one. Okay, so there's an obvious difference right there. The text box one has an extra stack panel that the password box does not have, which begs the question, why and what is inside of it? The other thing you can do is you can actually OR your search conditions with a vertical pipe. So something like margin and padding. And you'll notice I don't even need to fully type out. This is just a starts with filter. So I can just queue up the properties that I'm interested in looking at. There's also some predefined things here where if you're just looking for colors or layout or that kind of thing, you can build it up. I usually like to just type in the stuff that I'm interested in. I find that these are sometimes helpful, but usually they add more than what I want, and here I can be explicit. So this guy has a text box and a clear button. And this guy just has the clear button directly in it. So why actual height to 31? So what was this grid set at? 31, 23. So this stack panel is what's pushing it up. And this text block, what are you? So show me the text. Show me the text. Text is bound. Delve binding. What are you bound to? Show me the property path. Jump back, jump back. What's the data context here? So it's just the view model. It's not a relative source binding. Okay, I'm very confused. Okay, so we've got this text blocks with the clear button, and that's causing some issues. So I think this pull request is probably fine, but this bothers me here, seeing this, right? Because this hint should be right where the text is going to go. I don't like that these don't line up. Like this. They should line up. They should look normal. Like if I have my thing here and I type P, that should go over the top of that guy there. So let's go look at this guy's theme and find out what's going on. with the text box. So let's see, come down here, themes, text box. Okay, so where we are up here, this guy. So this is the hint, right? So you have vertical alignment bottom. Interesting. So why do you have to exist is the question. So let's look at password box. So what I may end up doing is just merging the PR and then going through and fixing this. So this guy here, okay, so hold on. Stop execution. Control KD, auto format my files, because darn it, I cannot look at these. I keep talking about going and putting in one of the XAML validation tools just to ensure the formatting doesn't get messed up. I haven't done it yet. Really need to. Okay. So this guy here, why? Oh, this is for the suffix text. Got it. Whereas a password box won't have any suffix text. Okay. This makes sense why it's here. I understand. I don't like it though. So this is in a grid. The grid is over on the size. And more importantly, when this guy is empty, why the heck is it taking up size? That doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right. Let's run real quick. Because the fact that this guy is increasing the height of that field when he's not visible very much seems wrong. Okay, so let's go back and take a look. So other fields, come back down here. So in this guy here, so where's my Snoop window? There's Snoop. Again, grab the crosshairs, drag it over your window, let go. And at that point, you can just minimize out your other window. And then Control Shift to zero in on our target. Okay, so it's worth noting that it'll zoom in all the way. It doesn't stop at like the logical tree. So it doesn't stop up at the text box itself. It drills all the way down inside of its template, which is both good and bad. It depends on what you're trying to do. So you here are my problem child. So you have two things inside of you. Which one of you is adding so much height? The text box itself has 15, but yet the stack panel is exceeding its size. Why? There's no margin. And so let's look down here. Do you have a margin? No. You're fairly small. You have no padding. The same applies to the button. So I'm left questioning why this thing has so much height. What's your width? Do you have any width? No, you're zero width. Which is why you aren't showing up anywhere on my screen. Interesting, interesting. The plot thickens. So you're what's forcing it to be big, but I don't know why you want to be so big. Your children don't have anything. There's nothing being set up on you that would justify that. The height of the button is being set to auto, but that shouldn't make a difference, right? Right? Why? Because I'm making the sweeping assumption that, yeah, this guy here clear button. There is. I'm just baffled as to why. Let's try some stuff here real quick, right? So let's look at vertical. Let's try the vertical properties. So if we do vertical alignment, say center it. You'll note we go right on down. So now our height of our stack panel is only 15, which then we come back to here. I'm guessing this guy just didn't update. Let's see here. Can we method invalidate measure invoke? So you're still convinced you need that much space, huh? So something else might be at play here. What's going on here? So padding, top and bottom of 4 on the border. Margin of 16. That isn't it there. It's worth noting that this red outline isn't always, because it's thicker than, say, 1 pixel, and even 1 pixel would be too thick, it ends up showing slightly misleading areas, because it tends to be around the inside of where the thing is, where the control is set. And sometimes with layout rounding, it can also be off by a pixel or so. I'm curious why you have, so you have some top padding of 8. So you're the reason for that being shifted down 8 pixels. Okay. And you have a top and bottom padding of 4. So you account for that inset there. So this border insets it a little further. Still doesn't answer the question. And more importantly, why is this guy being vertically aligned to the bottom? So this grid, vertical content alignment. So this guy's, that hard-coded padding there is fixed. I'm guessing this guy's, I don't see anything fancy here. So this must be getting, the fact that this guy has a name sort of implies that there's probably a trigger on him down here. So yeah, so the padding of 8 there is because has filled text box is set to true. Okay. Or has outline text field set to true. No. Filled, the outline is the one to the right. Okay, so that's fine, but why are you, it still bothers me that you don't line up straight. So I guess the next question then is it, this guy here is lined up, but what about this hint, right? Hint. So this guy's down here, this hint's up here. So that's, so there's a disjoint between the hint and the scroll viewer. So let's look at that. Scroll viewer. And then hint doesn't show. Okay, so is there any difference in your, so vertical alignment top, vertical alignment stretch. I'm now curious about the, because that seems like that might be a little off. So let's look down here, right? So, so there's that. Where is the hint? So there's the scroll viewer there. Vertical alignment stretch. Vertical alignment top. So both of you, so you two are set up the same, but yet your container content grid. Something is different about these, and I'm not sure what yet. So there. Let's stretch. But why are you down so far, and why are you up so far, right? I think we're coming to the conclusion that it's this guy here. So vertical alignment. Because this guy was set to stretch, which is what's forcing things up. So let's do this. Let's just validate that if we take him out of the mix, everything works. Because I think the answer to this will be yes. Still bothers me that I don't understand why this thing is sizing the way that it is. Okay, so fields. And down. So same behavior that we saw before. So we can't chalk it up to just this. Wish it was obvious. Okay, so what is causing you to be big? Right? Why do you want to be so big? $31. Right? 15 sort of makes sense. Come down here. 15, 23. Because these guys look to be positioned inside. So the password field grid versus this guy text field grid. There's something different about their positioning. What? Because these guys both are column 0. So I'm missing something in here, right? Something about these two guys is different. Floating offset, floating scale. So let's just start with vertical stuff, right? Vertical alignment, top. Okay, those match. Oh, interesting. Okay, I don't expect those. I don't expect the scroll bar, the vertical scroll bar especially, to be playing a factor here. Because I'm thinking the position of the scroll viewer is what's off, right? Because just looking at this, the height from this floating hint to the top is just about the height of an I-bar. Shoot, that's hard to tell. eyeballing it, I'm going to say that this height and this height between the top of the P and here, and say that the hint is positioned correctly, and in this case, this guy is too small. So let's look for explicit height setters, right? So no, 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 and no. So explicit height sets. No, 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 and no. So nothing is explicitly setting the height. Okay. I'm going to just start walking through these until I find it. Okay, so margin, none. Technically none. Technically none. I'm ignoring the attach property because this attach property ultimately has to be set to a real property before it has an effect. So you have a 1616. Okay. And you have an 88. So this is a horizontal, so I don't think that matters. This is a vertical of 8. So let's come down here and look at this. Oh, that's a difference. This guy only has 8 on the bottom and none on the top. So if I take this 8 off, ha 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 ha. Okay, so that's the issue. The margin on the scroll viewer has a top margin of 8, which was what was causing that guy to be off. Okay, so we can put this back. And now we need to figure out who's setting it. Okay, so scroll viewer, this guy here. Somebody is putting a margin on you. Show me who it is. Okay, so this guy here has... He's the one who's initially setting the 8-8. So the 8 top and 8 bottom, right? And this guy is an outline one, which is similar but different. Because in our particular case here, we are looking at the filled text box. So this guy. We could go through checking the styles, but I'm very confident that this is the attached property that's going to true, and outline is not. Let's see here. Has outline text field true, is floating. So here's the interesting part. Is floating is false and as outline is true. Why did this not trigger, right? Why did you not override it? Which is exactly what this pull request is designed to fix. So has out... Oh, because it has outline. Ah. Got it. We need a second trigger. Because the subtle difference between filled and outline matters. So if it's filled and floating is false, we're going to take off that top margin. Got it. And this is actually probably related to the pull request. So the pull request is good in that it fixed it for one, but it didn't fix it for the other. So this is one of those areas where I wish I could unit test my way to victory to avoid all of these cases, because there is a lot of combinations for the text box, and they are the number of times we've had bugs creep through. Oh, look at that. Muchos beta, muchos beta, muchos beta. Okay, and so great. Great. Wonderful. If I was paying a little more attention to that. Okay, so thought I checked out that pull request. Did I not? Oh. Well, hello. Did I need to do that? Now I don't know. Stash and check out the pull request. Then we'll pop the stash and see. Let's see. Text box stuff. Sounds great. Okay. Let's see here. And then we are going to pop our stash. No conflicts. Let's go and look at this because so this is literally the exact fix that we just wrote. Great. Now I feel stupid. Okay, so I think we can conclude these are formatting changes. I think this is just formatting change. Right? Let's go and look. I can't tell from looking at this, but I have a feeling we've just duplicated up the trigger. Has filled text. What is going on? My diff doesn't make sense. I would have expected to see it. Lines 194 through 195. 194. Oh, so hang on. Has filled. So I think we want both of these down. Well, shoot. So this is the same fix, but I put my trigger down here, which is probably wrong. So let's take that off. That goes there. Yeah. Okay, so I think the simple solution is we go, yep, looks good. And that was a lot of time thinking about something that should have been easy. Squash and merge. And poof, get that in. Great, so a whole bunch of time for something that was already solved. Aside from me feeling stupid, I at least learned something. Okay, so let's see here. Any of these other ones that... So this one I know isn't going in 301. This is a demo one. This isn't going in 301 either. So I'm tempted to release 301. Is it too much to just do it right now? Sounds like fun. Let's go through and see about doing it. Let's look at the milestones. Is there anything else I've thrown in here? There are some stuff in here that aren't closed. Time picker bug. So there are some things that might need to be addressed. Michael. Oh, sorry. My boss is named Mark Michaelis. So if you didn't catch last week's stream, that's who was on with me. And I saw this name and I'm like, what? Very confused. Okay, I'm with it. There's a default style. It will displace the time picker because the text box inside of the template not having a theme. See image. This is probably a fairly reasonable bug, and it looks like accurately recreated. So let's take a quick peek at this. First, let's get ourselves back where we need to be. So throw away changes because I don't think we want them. I want to pull up on my master, switch branches, take this out. Great, and don't need that remote anymore. Great. What is this one pointed at? Okay, just slowed update. Okay, cool. So let's take a quick look at this. I don't doubt that this probably happened, and this was probably a bug with 3.0. Let's see. Metal Slug. Been looking into transparent combo box item in grid view, and it's pretty tricky to figure out. Yeah, I can probably understand that. So what in particular is been tricky about it? So, and when you say transparent, I assume you're talking about the pop-up behind them with the individual items? Holiday Mountain Dew is wonderful. And if I remember right, Metal Slug, didn't you have an open issue here somewhere? It's reported by GitHub. I'll look up the number. Yeah, something is telling me that I remember looking at this. There's this one, but this is new. This doesn't fully shock me. We probably haven't built that one out well enough. Yeah, that needs to be addressed. This is almost assuredly, so 1515. Let's take a look real quick. Or 1550. So ComboBox drop-down menu becomes transparent when in grid view. Yeah. And this is part of why. So on the data grid we cheated. And I can show you where that is. So let's see here. Themes, data grid, combo box. So on our data grid, we completely bypassed the problem by rolling our own combo box implementation. So where is this guy? Toggle button, combo box item template. I think this guy is here. Where it's ending up doing it. What are you guys squawking about? Oh, missing grid set. Oh, I just resist temptation to fix indentate, but I really, really want to. At one of these times, there's going to be a big bang where I just go through and reformat all the code. Where is this guy? Maybe I can find it over here. Combo box pop up, and I think this is probably the cheater guy that's doing it. And themes, this is just straight on combo box. Maybe I'm wrong, because I know we rolled our own data grid combo box column, and I thought it was all around being able to hijack the background color. But maybe I'm wrong. Combo box style, default editing, because it is around being able to hijack the style, and I'm wondering if that's sort of the problem. So let's take a look. Download, and you click combo box. Yeah, so this is very similar. Well, if you want, let's take a look at this right now. We'll see if we can track it down. So step one, let's go into the demo and what is your problem? Real quick, I'm going to restart my Visual Studio because it has lost its mind. Thank you. Relaunch. Okay, so let's go here. So not a data grid. Not a data grid. Do we have a grid view under lists, maybe? Let's see, list box, items control, come on. I know, ReSharper, you have to scan everything, but let me scroll, please. Lego. There we go. So this will work. There's our grid view, and Yeah, this is just the column. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's fire this guy up and make sure we reproduce the problem. Sweet, yeah. Yeah, because step one, I usually always try to make sure I can reproduce the bug before I try to fix it. Otherwise, you get going and you think you fixed something and you weren't actually testing the right bug in the first place. What? Symbol division math converter. This looks like something we probably just broke, but wait, what? This looks very similar. Okay, let me hang on. Hang on. Let me go back and look, because this was like pull request number 1 we just closed. So, closed pull request. Why does it only show that I've closed 1 tonight? Huh? GitHub, you are confusing me. Let's look here and look at the closed items. I will find you. Yeah, it was this one. Is it showing it in like chronological order from when it was opened? Not when it was last modified? Because that would be dumb. Okay, so ComboBox. Ah, that's almost assuredly the bug. Got it. Because this guy's trying to reference it, and it's probably not in there. Okay, so we should probably just go fix that real quick, like, before anybody notices I screwed up. Let's see here. So I believe it's this, and let's see. Division math converter and operation. Hey. Divide. So let's just double check back. So the ComboBox one needed to have it because it has that there. Password box properly adds it. Text box properly adds it. Okay, so I probably should have been cued into the idea that when 2 out of 3 of the resource dictionaries had it and the third one didn't, I should have probably looked a little closer. Because you're referenced down below, aren't you? Yeah, right there. So I'm going to go with something tried to load a ComboBox and that guy wasn't loaded. So glad we caught it. At some point in time, I have wild aspirations of setting up automated testing that at minimum just clicks through all the pages and verifies the app doesn't crash, because that seems like a pretty bare bones minimum level. Hey, look, that was it. Okay, real quick, just gonna abuse my ability to push whenever I want powers. Fix missing converter. Just gonna push that up real quick, like. Normally you should pull request and whatnot, but we're just going to go with that. Okay, back to where we were. So this is not grids, I want lists. Okay, so this is functionally the bug here, right? Is we pop this guy open and this is trash. So I apparently closed Snoop. That was dumb, because this is a perfect Snoop problem. Make sure you don't push the test column. Yeah. Thank you. That's part of why I like opening up Get Kraken, where I can look at my stage changes and only stage 1 at a time, rather than just doing like a commit all. I find when I use the command line for Git interaction, my commit to error ratio goes way up, and that always bothers me. Okay, so the one thing to know about Snoop is each of these Snoop windows functionally are only going to look at one visual tree at a time, which means if you have multiple windows, this is only going to be targeted at a single window at any given time. And a pop-up is effectively a lightweight window. So again, when you hit the pop-up open, Control-Shift, you'll note that the I'm pointing at my screen, which is clearly helpful. You'll notice that the top level element on the tree is the pop-up root. So we've effectively changed which visual tree we're looking at. So now we're looking at the top of this guy here. And I'm guessing, it's interesting that there still is kind of this black grayish background. I'm curious where that's coming from. So I kind of want to track that down, but the other thing I want to do is I want to grab this pop-up and tell it to stay open. Is there not a nice stays open option here? Oh, there's not. Let me grab it. Let me grab the ComboBox. So if I go here, stays open on edit. Is that the one I'm thinking of? I thought there was a ComboBox button that said stay open. Oh, interesting. That was weird. Oh. Well, that's not good. So just noticing that the first time I clicked, I got a different behavior than the second time I clicked, which that's never a good sign. Okay, so let's see if we can track down where these guys are coming from. So how about open? Oh, come on. Isn't there a... I'm not crazy, right? There's like a stays open or an is open on this guy. So the other thing we can do is I can just keep clicking it. Oh, that's interesting. I'm noticing this opacity guy is being played with a little bit. Why is that? Okay, is there a... There's nothing in my output window for it. What is going on there? That is interesting. Wish I could see the... Okay, well, come back to that in a minute. So, because I'm interested in figuring out where this background is coming from. So, because I sort of expect to find a background on one of these guys. Because that guy's set to transparent. Let's see. So let's just walk our way up. No background. Background to transparent. No background. No background. No background. Ah. Material design divider. That's where that's coming from. So... Is there an opacity set on this guy or something? Oh, this guy itself, the color itself has an alpha channel. That's what's going on. So there is a background being set. It's just being set to a color that has a funky background. Interesting. Okay. This is probably not what we wanted. Part of me is wondering if this broke in the 3.0 release when we did all the theming. So let's take a look at that. So I think it's probably in here actually, because I think us adding this column probably did it. So divider. Really? Material design divider doesn't existed pre 3.0. Okay, that is good to know. I'm still curious where this is coming from. A parent template. I'm a little confused as to which. So this was inherited here. Material design divider on the scroll viewer. Okay, that makes me feel... Okay, so I at least understand why it's getting that. I'm sort of wondering if the appropriate fix here is to not use this as the background color and change it out to a different theme brush. Because most things inside of material design don't usually leverage this kind of look at all. Usually it's you grab the material design paper, I believe is the default background brush. But I'm a little surprised. Material design divider. Okay, I'm just curious where this brush is defined at. So let's, wrong window please. So show me where this guy's defined, because I'm not, let's see, I don't care about the demo app. I do care very much about these themes. So yeah, so you'll notice it gets a slightly different color depending on whether we're talking about dark or light theme, which is fine, but that's not quite, which is why I think we want to swap it. But both of these have alpha channels set, and I don't think that's what I want. Where'd it go? There. So don't care, themes. So that's a border brush, that's an indicator brush, that's not it. This is old XAML code, ComboBox. This could be it. ComboBox item. Hey, look at this. Betcha this is it. So the question though comes, what should this be? Because I think there was a change at one point in one of the theming changes where this brush used to be opaque, and the brush itself had an opacity set on it, and then we switched it to just have the color with an alpha channel. So the question though then becomes, what should this guy be? Data grid combo box item style. So let's first, so theory 1, red and fuchsia, right? Let's make sure this is what we're looking at the right thing. Do I trust that? I don't. I want to relaunch because this is the data grid combo box item style, so this may not necessarily be the right one. But I do want to track down where this color's coming from, because I'm willing to bet this combo box item template was taken from somewhere else. So let's see, list down here. So not this one. So undo, undo. Okay, keep hunting. Let's see, this guy down here. Selected false, mouse over true, keyboard focus true, not that one. Okay, so combo box item template. Drop down border. Real quick, so the other thing we can do is we can hunt these guys here. So in Snoop, you'll note how you see these parentheses and then the name of the control. If in fact the control has been given a name in the XAML, you'll see that. So like part scroll content presenter. So we could theoretically hunt this name down as well, and that would give us some indication of where this guy came from. But I suspect wait, wasn't that literally just the I feel like I'm talking myself in circles now, right? Because that should have been... Okay, real quick, we're going to change this to set owner window true. Save and close. I think I have to repop the window. By setting owner window, there we go. Now it sits on top. So I can keep track of my Snoop window while control shifting around. But I thought before what I had seen is the background was set here. Wasn't it? No, it was set higher up on the scroll viewer. Yeah. So this isn't actually down on the combo item. This is the scroll viewer inside of the ComboBox pop-up. So let's keep looking. I'm going to just assume you're not there. Going to assume you're not there. Not that one. Let's see. Toggle list box item. Probably not. Probably not. Maybe. This does feel list view. This looks more promising. Material design divider. Because I'm looking for something that actually. Oh, so that's a border brush. That's not it. Background. Grid view item, list view item. So that's still not going to be inside of a pop-up. So you're not a radio button. Scroll bar, no. Because this is on the scroll bar button itself. That looks like a bug that needs to be resolved. Possibly. Let's see. Toolbar. Nope. Toolbars aren't at play here. So I am very confused where this guy is coming from. Where this scroll viewer is. Because you're coming from a pop-up. This guy, this has got to be set on the pop-up's background. Because the pop-up control is a little weird in that you set properties on it, but some of those properties apply to the new window that the pop-up opens. Which is why I suspect that's where this is coming from. Because it's weird that the first named item I get to, because whatever scroll viewer I find, ultimately I'm looking to find some grid that contains these three things in it. Right? Part, scroll, content, presenter. Let's just hunt that. Part, scroll, content, presenter. Great. So there's only a couple options. There. What is this one in? Scroll viewer. Do you have a background set? This one at least fits my... This one fits the bill. Right? Because I'm looking for something that... I'm looking for a grid that contains these three items. Here's a grid. It contains these three items. The grid has the name grid. So this is it. So there is a scroll viewer. This guy is getting applied to it, which I don't think is that shocking because I think this guy is a default template. Oh. This is what I wanted to hunt. Because I think this is in the defaults. Yeah, so this is an implicit style on scroll viewer, material design scroll viewer. This style just sets this template up. This template sets up the background. Okay. Well, that at least narrows it down. So this guy is get a template binding on the background from the scroll viewer. So something is setting the scroll viewer's background, which is what's getting this guy. But the scroll viewer's background is coming from that data grid. So let's look at the other side of this now. So rather than looking inside the pop-up, let's go down into this ComboBox. Let's see here. So where is ComboBox? And let's look at his style, because I'm wondering if this guy is just picking up the default ComboBox style. Let's see. Implicit style reference. So style key. Wait, what? Oh. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is an implicit style key here. How do I find? I'd really love to be able to see the keys on these guys. Let's just. So there's an implicit one, which is probably the based on one. Setters, we'll just look at the first setter. Focus visual style is not a key one. Background set to this. So let's go and look through that real quick. So I suspect what is happening is defaults here. I find the combo box. So this is probably that first style. You'll notice no setters, but it's set down to here. The first setter was set to focus visual style. The second setter was set to the background, which is what we see here. Here, you'll note the value here is being set. I suspect that's the same value for transparent. Let's see. 0 FFFFFFFF. Yes. So if we look at the next one, it should be set to border brush. Let's see, jump back here. So go up one. Border brush set to a dynamic resource. Okay, so this guy is picking up the default combo box style. Okay, so what gets set here? Background of transparent. And where is the template? This guy here. Okay, so this guy comes into here. Where is the pop-up? Combo box pop-up, which is this guy here, and I believe this is the one. Let's check this, because I have a feeling, so this could actually tie into that other pull request that we looked at earlier. There we go. Bingo. So that's what he finds. That's what he sets. Okay, so if we just come in here, new solid color brush, colors dot fuchsia. So I expect that now when I launch it, that pop-up will have the background color of fuchsia. And then the question will be, what's the best way to handle this? Because that's really what's ultimately happening is the combo box goes to open because our combo box goes walking up the visual tree looking for the first control that has a background that isn't effectively one of the defaults. So it can't be transparent, it has to be a solid color brush, etc., etc., etc. So it then goes and applies it. Which most of the time that works. But in the case of the list box item, the list box item has this kind of semi-transparent color over it, so when you do this, you end up getting that. Okay, so that's what's happening. Yuck. Okay, so let's go back, though, and look at, because there was a pull request around this, right? I've got too much stuff open. Close. Okay, so, was it this one? Color zone assist, because this is, I think, one of the few pop-ups I've seen, because this is where we're dropping into, right? Set up background. And so we have to, so let's see if we can cheat it a little bit. I don't. No, yuck. Let's go down. Well, let's start with doing it in the demo. All right? Because if we can do it in the demo, we can then force it wherever we want. Don't care. Probably care about you. Okay, so let's go down to lists and all the way at the bottom. So combo box. So one of the simple options, I guess. Let's see, style, target type, combo box, based on, derived from whatever the existing is. Alright, so derive from the existing combo box, do stuff, style triggers, trigger property, what is it? Drop is drop down open. Thank goodness. Value true. Set our property background value. Question is, what is the proper value? Well, start with fuchsia. All right, so let's relaunch and just see if this works. Because this the question is really around whether this trigger is going to fire in time. I think that works, and that was the workaround you implemented. Okay, that's good to know. No dice. Because that's effectively why it's getting the. Because it's picking up the mouse over color. Ugh. Yeah, Metal Slug. If you know what you ended up doing, I'd be curious what workaround ended up working. I mean, the real question though is what should this background be, right? Because part of me is really tempted. Because the number of times this bug has bitten us has been way too high, right? Background, dynamic resource, material, design, paper. Right? I kind of want to just do that. Well, so it's not always white. It's white in a light theme, and it's dark in a dark theme. Because that's the thing, is ultimately I want it set based upon a theme resource. We've been bitten way too many times where I've had things slip in where something's hard-coded to black or white, and it works really well until you toggle your theme. So I try to always make sure that I test stuff in both. Let's see what this does. Cannot be set because it does not have an accessible setter. What? Why? Okay. Well, that's an easy fix. Now it has an accessible setter. Okay, so let's see. I did this. Style triggers is drop down open. Scroll bar background. Got it. Okay. That's interesting. So you set the inherited property and that worked. Interesting. Oh, and of course that doesn't work because we still have the combo box. It's really ugly in the animation, but it works. Yeah, I believe that. Which is kind of why I want to go through and do something more akin to this, right? Like, I think this would at least behave consistently rather than basing it upon wherever the combo box is. Like, I kind of feel like I want to say use the resource, or if the combo box has a background explicitly set, go ahead and use that. That's kind of what I think. So maybe in a better world, it becomes, template binding. Background. Well, that doesn't give me the full fallback. We'll deal with that in a minute. So let me go here, pop this guy. If I come down here, and I'm just gonna turn that off for a minute because that is biting me. Because Because where do you get set at? You get set on some sort of isOpen callback, don't you? You get set on the placement callback. Oh, yuck. So it gets set even before it opens. That's probably why the other ones aren't firing in time, is that one's already gotten to it. And more importantly, because this thing is doing an explicit set, it's going to override anything done in a style. Because anything directly set on the element always beats out style setters. Which is good, it just means that that's doing it in a horrible way. See, that doesn't look that bad to me. Right? And if we go here, let's see, palette, dark, back to my list. Ooh, that doesn't look good to me. What? What happened to my background? Huh? Now I'm confused. Why did I lose my background as soon as let's see, all the way up to here, right? Scroll viewer, show me background. Value is empty. I am confused. The brush is clearly set because everything else has the nice black background. But this clearly has no... Huh? How did you not get a... I am very, very confused. Okay, so where are this guy here? Value source default. Didn't we just hard code this and restart? Let me restart. I'm very shocked that that didn't work. And now I'm questioning everything I know. So, oh, maybe that's the problem. That was probably the problem. I changed it in the palette view, which is the old API. I need to kill that off. Let's come down here. There we go. There we go. Okay. So as long as you don't change light dark theme with the old API and you use the new one, it works fine. I almost want to do something like this at some point, and because I think this is probably going to align with somebody's theme better. I do wonder if we want to expose something though, right? Like, if there's an explicit, I wish there was a nice way to do fallback like this. I think there is, isn't there? Hang on. So I'm going to try something. I don't actually know that this is going to work, but there's this concept of a priority binding, which I never use because it's dumb. I mean, it serves a purpose, but its purpose is so narrow in scope. Oh, that's my problem. I don't have white space turned on. Let's see. White space. Show visible white space, please. Right? View white space. On. Ah, that feels better. Okay, so binding. Let's see. Relative source. Relative source templated parent, right? So if this guy has a background set, so path background, use it. Otherwise, binding. And I think you can do this. Can you? I think I can go binding. I think I can just set the source to a dynamic resource. I don't know. I don't actually know that this works. Source, dynamic resource, can only be used with a dependency property. Well, Darn it. Okay, so let's do this. Tag gets dynamic resource that, and we'll just path tag relative source self, right? So the idea being that if there's an explicit background set, it chooses that. Otherwise, it'll fall back to the property set on the tag, which is controlled by the dynamic resource. This way, there's a way for people to control it if they want to, without like fully retemplating the entire control. Because there's a few controls that, yes, you can retemplate, but they are big and complex. And if you retemplate them, you sort of take away a lot of features in favor of just making the thing work. So let's, nope, not trees. Lists. Let's see, background property cannot be data bound. Why? This is our control. Let's see. Oh, because it's registered as read-only. Okay, well, again, this is our property. We can make it be whatever we want. Okay, so register type of property, ComboBox pop-up. What am I missing? Dependency. Oh, this is dependency property key. Okay. Oh, that's why it was being done that way. Got it. I see. Clear that out. Clear that out. Something more akin to that. Yeah, I'll be curious to see if this works. Priority binding, the times when it falls back, let's see if I can remember right. It falls back to the next binding if the binding fails. So say property doesn't exist or whatever. It falls back if a binding returns dependency property unset value. And there's a third one that I don't remember. Oh, this guy. Why don't you oh, you don't scroll because I'm inside of a scrollable view. Okay. So that did not work. So it picked up the background. I'm guessing this picked up the background color of the combo box, which is unset. Let's look at this real quick. So WPF. Let's see how to implement priority binding. Great. Let's see. The following three properties. Blah, blah, blah. Fastest. When this binding is processed, is did not return values because it's sleeping for 5 seconds. Yeah, so this is largely around this. It doesn't really give us fallback. Yuck, 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 yuck. Okay, so if we were going to continue down this path, let's keep going. I don't know if this is something I'm actually going to... So one, this is not going to be something that gets merged tonight, because this is a bigger change than what I would put in 301, but it might go in 310. So let's go here, material design themes, converters. How about fallback brush converter? Something like this, and we'll do I multi-value converter, implement, finish. Probably should stop debugging. And we're going to make this guy internal because I don't really want him being part of my public API. So return values. First or default. How about values? Let's do an of type. Brush. Probably should be solid color brush. Right, I think. And it should return the first one where, let's see, x.color is not equal to default of color, so empty. What are you squawking about? Ambiguous reference. Okay, system media color. Clean that up. Well, okay, even better. Not equal to default, and x.color not equal to not sure I like the transparent check here. Good enough for proof of concept. Hang on, Control RG to clean up my usings. So find me the first solid color brush where there's actually been a color set, so it's not default, and the color's not transparent. So if we come back over here, maybe we embed this inside of the resource. Where's the template? So control. No, let's put it at the top of the resource dictionary, I guess. So, converters, fallback brush converter, X key, fallback brush converter, right? Okay, so we'll do that, and come back down here. Should have marked my position. There we go. Converter. Try that. Just to double check, Metal Slug, would this sort of implementation solve your problem? I mean, if you hard coded it down to white, I'm guessing this would solve it. I just want to make sure I'm not walking down a potential solution that doesn't work for somebody. Okay, so that worked there. Cool, good to know. Okay, so let's jump. We'll test it on dark theme. Make sure it works there. Something like that. Okay. Now let's go through and explicitly set a background. So background fuchsia, right? So if there's a background set, the background of this guy goes to fuchsia. Okay, so, and if this guy goes transparent, right, this guy still uses that brush. I kind of like it. It's definitely a different behavioral change than what I think people are expecting, but I think it's worth proposing. Let's do it. So I'm going to take this out of the mix. I think I'm going to leave this in. I'm going to take this background off of this combo box, right? I think I'll leave this guy here, and let's make a quick branch. So create branch. Yeah, I don't think anyone would ever need a transparent pop-up. I agree. And in general, pop-ups actually default to not allowing transparency because they're actually more expensive to render with transparency. But because we like to have like the rounded corners, you have to turn it on in order to let that little bit flow through. But a default pop-up in WPF, if you just throw one up and don't set any background on anything, you'll just see black. So I've seen that happen quite a few times, where people are just questioning, going, my thing is all black. What's wrong? That was issue 1550, if I remember right. I think 1550. Yes. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do bug 1550. Okay, so let's see. What are our changes? New column here, which I like. It lets us add it. I'm going to actually clean that up real quick, because there's... So this guy here, we can just do grid view column. Doesn't... What is header? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can just do header gets... No, I understand it's defined below. Trust me, ReSharper. I know what I'm doing. Let's see. Options. I don't want to reuse name. Let's see. We clean that up. That way it's as small as possible. Just relaunch and make sure I didn't break it. Let's see. While that's thinking about it, that's should be good. So the converter, which is very simple. Again, I think I like the transparent filter. Let's see. That is good. This uses this and the tag fallback. Sort of a cheap trick to do something like this. The other thing you can do, if you don't have a tag property on whatever element you're working on or it's already been used, you can always make an attached property and do this same sort of trick. Let's see, so ComboBox pop-up. So this is the one that's actually... Let's clean that up too. We'll clean that up too, because I kind of like that. Okay, so ComboBox pop-up. So we kind of just went quick and dirty in some of these areas. That goes away now because you are no longer controlled in the code behind. And you can go back to doing what... Okay. And while I'm in here making changes, let's just keep going, right? So you get your own file. Anything else that needs cleanup? ND offset independent, right? Boom. While we're cleaning it up, just keep going. Independent. Boom. Paste, paste. So a little cleanup there. Inconsistent use statement body. No. I'm sorry, ReSharper. I'm going to reject your suggestion there. Okay, so I think that gets that cleaned up. So then we will stage that, proposed fix for 1550. Uses theme, material, design, paper, brush, or the combo boxes background when set. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll push this up, and then I'll at least open a PR and link it, and then if people can then comment on it. Because this I put in 310. I think I have to push it out and put it down in 310. Because to change the ComboBox pop-up is much more of a breaking behavioral change. It's not an API change that people have to change their code on. But again, on the point releases, I try to make it so that people should be able to take them blindly and just know that everything should be better and nothing should be worse. Whereas before, if somebody was playing with this, this is a a difference in behavior of how their combo box would work, and so they probably want to know about this. Like if somebody was setting a background before, it wasn't applying to the pop-up, that'd be a bit of a shocker to take an update and all of a sudden have that happen to you. So let's go here, here, compare and pull request. Let's see, let's actually make sure it links. Fixes 1550. Please provide feedback on this solution as it affects all combo boxes. So I'm going to claim that this is an enhancement. And I'm going to propose that it goes there unless somebody decides otherwise, because I think that's probably the right place for it. Cool. And normally I would say that I would want to write unit tests over the changes to the combo box pop-up, but all the changes in here are deletions, so it's really hard to verify that something was deleted. So, cool. Was there any other issues that you were looking at, Metal Slug? I'm always happy when, even when I've got an agenda of what I want to work on, if somebody's in chat and is interested in a particular thing, I'm always happy to deviate. I think this one I can probably close out now. How to change dialog alignment. Oh, reopen. I missed that there was a comment here. Let's see. We can answer this question real quick. Fairly certain that the answer... Uh-oh. Did I miss a change? Why do you... Visual Studio, you worry me when you show these red checks. And Git shows no changes. Let's see. Because the question was the alignment of dialogues. Close all documents. Let's see, that is down under dialog host. That was the only issue I had. We'll continue to report bugs as I come across. Awesome. If you don't mind me asking, what are you using the material design library for? Is this a work project, a side project, or what are you building? Let's see here. Placement target. That ain't it. Work project, also side project. Those are the best. Awesome. Cool. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, but over on the wiki page, if you have something that was introduced to the library from a coworker and we decided to implement it on our new software. Cool. Yeah, if you guys run into problems, obviously you know where to find me. There is a place for projects using material design. So for your work project, especially make sure that you have permission for whatever you share. But if people want to, I encourage people using the library, go ahead and post your stuff in. So all I ask is try to put things in alphabetical order and make it look cool. Feel free to link back to your project so that people can see it. But it's nice to actually see when people build cool stuff with it. So again, feel free to add in your stuff here where it makes sense and where you have permission to do so. Let's see here. So there are so changing the dialogue alignment. I think there's actually an issue around this, if I remember right. Let's see. Close. Awesome. Let's dialogue. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Does not size to content. Dialog host background color. I think this is solved, isn't it? Oh, and look at that. My little timer finally decided to tick for Streamlabs, and it is lying. That is not what we are building. How dare you? Nope, not that button. Let's see. Where is the... I'll have to go and find... I can never remember where those timer settings are. I need to go back and trigger them. I keep meaning to write myself a better app to deal with this, but I'm getting distracted. Dialog... Host being unloaded. Dialog host loading events. Dialog host show behavior. Allow transparency parameter. Hang on. Sorry, I got to look at this one. I think that one's already solved. Now forward. Dialog host freezing. Let's see. Close is overridden. It actually hides dialog host. Now are not planning on handling hiding the dialog when the window is hidden. As an alternative, there is an optional style called, where is it? There's an embedded dialog host which will, as part of the window rather than as a pop-up. Close. Okay, so that one there. Allow transparency as a parameter. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think... Yeah. Let's see, and I believe this is already handled too. Already been addressed in the latest 3.0.0 release. At some point I need to spend some time going through the backlog and clearing out old issues. If people ever find issues and it looks like there is something that just needs to be closed or is old and dead, feel free to tag me on it and say, hey, please go through and fix it. So just at Kaboo and let me know. And this one doesn't. This one looks more like a question and can be closed at this point. I generally try, if things are labeled as question, usually after they go old and stale, I will just close them out. If there's still more that you want to know or you have further questions that need answered, just reopen it. I don't mind that. I've just been trying to, the things labeled question at least help me keep track of what is in there. So there are only a few options for positioning it as it exists outside of the window. There is a, where is it? Dialog margin property, which you can use to push it around. We'll go with that. I suspect this is going to be a request to, say, have the dialog anchor itself in, say, the top left corner or the bottom right. This isn't a great solution that we've solved yet. I know there's been attempts to go through and build out ways of doing the positioning. So the embedded dialog host, it gets really easy, right? Because the embedded dialog host, let's see, visual tree. This guy is just a card inside of a grid. You'll notice we cheat with the name. We call it a pop-up when it's really not a pop-up at all. And so it's embedded inside of the visual tree. So this one would be easy to push around because we could easily just go through and say, okay, you know, left, right, top, bottom, etc., etc. Actually, this guy might already have it set up because this is set up for horizontal and I should go back and comment on that one again. Nope, not that one. Nope. What did I do? So back here, let's go back. Oh, there it is. Another option is switch your dialog host to use the and set the let's see. When using this optional style, the dialog is part of the window and thus cannot exceed the size of the parent window. That is the big key difference between the normal dialog host style and the embedded one is the normal one allows it to actually grow beyond the size of the window. So if you have an app where maybe you're only showing a tiny little window, you could use this to pop a dialog that was much bigger to say, you know, have the user fill out a whole, you know, profile form or whatever, and your little docked app can stay in the corner. So that's the way it's always been, and so I've never pushed to have the embedded one be the default because though I like it better for most of my apps, there are plenty of use cases where it doesn't make sense. Or like people want to let their users resize the windows, you know, down narrow because they dock it to the side, but they still want the dialog to fill out. Great, fine. So if you want this style, feel free to use it. It's my preference when I'm building stuff out because most of the time I want my dialogs constrained to my window and not to exceed it. But that doesn't always have to be the case. Okay, so there's that. There's that. Okay, I know I've gone much longer than I said I was going to. Let's see. Time picker bug. Date picker content alignment. What was this one? This one might just be a quick snipe here real quick. Horizontal alignment stretch. So what is the problem? Use a horizontal kind. Doesn't work. Yeah, this is probably an easy fix. Let's just look at this one real quick. So switch back to master. We might just snipe this one real quick because I do think this is easy. So date picker XAML 376. Okay, it's wonderful. Because I'm on vacation right now, I don't have to get up early, but I do have 2 young toddlers that will inform me that sleeping in is not acceptable. Let's see here. So, 376. 376. Horizontal alignment. So, this guy here, date picker, let's go and look at the demo app again. Start with reproduction. So, pickers. And let's see, material design date picker. So the default should work. Sure. So let's say we set horizontal content alignment center. See if it works. Why do you keep opening up the wrong dashboard? Not where I wanted you to go. Okay, so here, pickers. Not working. Okay. If we go through and change this, let's see, horizontal. Yeah, because stretch should be the default for horizontal content alignment, so it should just be a simple template binding horizontal content alignment, right? And then relaunch. I've noticed the XAML edit and continue does not always pick up nicely when you edit inside of a control template in a different project. It's pretty good at figuring out when something's changed, but it's not perfect. Okay, so pickers. One of these days I'm going to alphabetize this list so I stop having to think about it. Oh, interesting. So that actually... Oh, that is not quite what we want. So, horizontal alignment. Horizontal content alignment. There. That's more like what we expect, right? Whatcha? Or if you want to say align it to the right, let's see, right, boom. Works better. Okay, that seems like a simple bug. Simple bug, easy fix. Let's see, so I don't think we want to check in the demo app. We'll stage this, come here. We'll actually do this the correct way. Create branch, fix, what was our issue number? 1568. 1568, great. Come here. Date picker now respects horizontal content alignment. Great. And push, and back over here. Don't care about you anymore. Fixes pound 1568. Great. Milestone. This is going in the point release. And we'll verify that this guy works. Great. So let's. I guess we've got that open. So we'll let the pull request just sit there. And then once the CI picks it up, it should be good. So that handles that. ComboBox display issue when there are no items. This one seems interesting. Let's see. So I reproduced it here. Oh, not what I wanted. Since the ComboBox use, but due to the lack of items, display is either off screen or with a size of 0. So it looks like somewhere between clicking the button and calling the pop-up, something is bugging out. Let's see here. Appears at the base. However, The custom pop-up is part of it. This does not get called on the first click. Oh, Tide spent a lot of time tracking this down. Adding something into the template to take up space makes it work. Something there. So let's see. Oh, this is the dupe, right? Okay, so there's that. The first method is called on ComboBox pop-up when you click the dropped. First method is called. This does not get called on the first click or in the style. I have to look through the style and not found anything so far. That's disappointing. That means this is not a simple easy fix. Placement callbacks. So what would be... Let's look through this for a moment. Custom pop-up placement callback. And the workaround found adding this line below to the style to test, and it worked fine. I'm thinking rather than okay. I think a minimum height is probably enough to trigger this. Let's test this. Okay, so back up. We can easily recreate this. All we need is an empty combo box. So let's make this happen. And sure, fields. Text fields. I think we can do this fairly easily. I think there's a couple combo boxes. Great. This will do. Alright, let's launch and verify that this happens, because I'm wondering if putting an element in there with size fixes it, I'm wondering if taking it a step further, and so not putting the element there but setting a minimum height of 1, if that'll be enough. Okay, so let's go down here, because I don't doubt that part of this problem is the fact that we have our own custom pop-up control. Why am I so bad at finding text fields? Palette toggles fields. Okay, click, nothing. Click, there it is. Okay, so we've recreated the bug. Excellent. Excellent. Step 1 complete. So let's see, ComboBox. And where did Tide put this in at? Because he's very good at tracking stuff down. He's very detail oriented. Let's see, content control, scroll viewer. Let's see, editable text box, that ain't it. This looks like it. Min height of 1, right? Let's just check this. Because this is what's inside of the pop-up box. Yeah. Floating hint combo. So there's that. Let's just keep tracking. Little text box. Okay. So that should be it. So let's just see if that gets us where we want to go. Because if this is the whole fix to just set minimum height of this thing to 1, sold, done. We'll push that guy through. Okay, so we go back to our fields. First click, ha ha ha, and it works. Thank you, Tide. You made that way too easy on me. Way too easy on me. Okay, so we'll jump back to master, create branch, fix. We're just going to snipe a bunch of bugs here, aren't we? 1261. 1261. Nope, not a new branch. Only need one, thanks. We'll do this, stage, setting min height of pop-up. Fixes the issue where an empty combo box does not show on the first click. Fixes pound 1261. Commit, push, submit. Okay, and pull requests. Labels, bug fix. Great. One change. 301. Create pull request. This guy's done. Squash merge. We can delete that branch. We don't need it anymore. Let's jump back over to the milestone. I guess we just go here and hit refresh instead. So this is going to clear those two guys out. Boom, boom, boom. And now the question of this time picker bug, right? This one looks like it's probably easy enough to check. Let's see. I want to grab that pull request, though, and have that sitting there. So when that finishes, because I really, really want to get this 301 release out. It's only 20 minutes till midnight. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. My 2-hour stream is about to become a 3-hour stream. Thank you, Mountain Dew. Okay, so if we've got that going, let's take a look. So this time picker bug. So when there's a default style defined somewhere in the resources on text box, type like this. So basically the problem being that this guy, if you define an implicit style in yours, it's going to affect the text box inside of this. Let's look at this. Part of me is struggling to know if this is actually something we should address. So let's look at this commit. So app.xaml set up normally. Okay, great. Theming info, it's a core app, great. So time picker, text block. There's the implicit style, right? So I guess my first question with this is, what does the date picker do? Because the time picker and the date picker are supposed to be fairly synonymous. They usually, the intent is for them to go together hand in hand. Sorry. Had a notification pop up that I had to deal with real quick. Okay. Oh, see, this is why I have white space turned on. See this? Tabs, spaces. Do not mix. Do not mix. Some people can make good arguments for tabs. Some people can make good arguments for spaces. I have yet to find somebody who can make a good argument why I should see both right next to each other in the same file. Okay, so there's the time picker styles. And where's the date picker? Because I think the way the date picker works around this is the date picker has a derived text box class. Right? And I think that might be the, yeah, date picker text box. And I'm willing to bet that part of the reason this guy exists is to solve this bug, right? Because do you actually add much stuff? You add a watermark, which is internal and not usable by anybody. Yeah, so you don't actually add that much. Because I'm wondering if this is the better solution, right? Is rather than going through and changing out this guy, we change out the underlying control inside of the library. Which I think is probably the better change. It makes it behave more like the WPF date picker, which is what the time picker is designed to work like, right? Like the API is very similar. And I think that's the better change. So we'll do it here real quick, but I think I'm going to make this change, I'm going to kick it out of 301 and put it in 310. I think I like that better. Okay, so time picker, right? Which makes me so happy because I can replace all those tabs with spaces. Oh, wonderful. Look at that. Consistent white space. I love consistent white space. So let's go down to time picker. Time picker. And we'll just do a new guy right here. So public class time picker text box derives from text box. Okay. Go into your own file, please. Thank you. And let's look at this guy and see what all is the important stuff that we need to make sure we do. So we don't have a template per se for this. Let me just look at the time picker. So let's find this text box. Let's see. Time picker, template, smart hint, content host. All right, so you don't have what? Hold on. I'm starting to wonder if I need to recreate this bug first. Material design, text box base. This guy already has a... let's see. To fix this issue, I have following style property in the control template of the time. Material design, text box base. Isn't that exactly what I'm looking at here? Right, so collapse you down, right? This is the template. Text box template, style. Is it because of this? This scroll viewer is going to get set up as the content host. Okay, before I get too carried away, I want to recreate this bug. Should be fairly simple. Let's see. So it was something simple like change the height and add an implicit style. So pickers. Let's see. Date picker. I want a time picker. So let's go here. stack panel resources, drop something like that in, and let's just make it really, really obvious, right? Because I want to see this break, because the solution that he proposes appears to already be implemented, right? Like there is an explicit style set. So unless you override material design text box base, which is possible. Let's see, pickers. This appears to already be done. So now I'm curious, very curious to see this issue firsthand. Okay, I'm intrigued. I don't see it, so I want to see this thing run, because it looks like the solution proposed here. I add the following style property to the control template of the time picker. Maybe I'm just missing where this gets set. Paste. Come on, go, 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 go. Where is my downloads folder? I should find that out. Okay, so I think, where was that thing added? Material design test. I think it was project references, so I probably need to load up the solution. Don't ask me for every project, that'll take forever. I looked at the diff. There's nothing malicious in here. Okay, so zero design test. Set a startup project. For reference, I don't mind when people send links like this, though I definitely prefer if it's a standalone project with just a NuGet reference. It makes my life a little easier. As you saw, it doesn't really take me that much time, but it is helpful if it's a standalone project. Okay, so let's see where this is going, because I was all gung-ho to go through and do the change here, which I still think is probably a good change, to change this out from a text box to a time picker text box. I think. Probably. But this guy already has an explicit style set on him, so I'm curious how this other one... Yeah. I know. I probably hit go. If you see those errors and it's referencing a JSON file inside of your OBJ directory, typically on a fresh clone, or if you just changed branches or similar, you just need to hit rebuild. That usually means you launched too quickly inside of Visual Studio. Because the NuGet restore stuff is done asynchronously in the background, and so you can actually kick this guy off and get running before it's actually all the way ready. So just hit rebuild and run one more time. See? Rebuild all success. Happy day. Well, look at that. Certainly appears to be a problem. So why? Okay, so now I'm curious. So what is going on here? So text box, floating hint time picker. Oh, is this specific to the floating hint one? Let's go back. Because this is just the material design time picker. So that shouldn't make a difference. So they're both going to fall into the same thing. Let's just make, again, really, really big and obvious. Well, that certainly makes it big and obvious. So why did mine not recreate with this? And more importantly, why does this... I'm a little concerned that that one recreated so easily and this one didn't. So now I want to go back and look at what I did. Okay, so pickers. Like the custom hint one should have picked it up, right? Stop execution and let's format. I'm wondering if I've got bad indentation. Floating hint time picker. Wait, what is different about these? So, floating hint time picker, hint assist hint is set, a width of 100 is set. Let's turn off the enabled false, just to make sure that's not biting me. And technically this has a horizontal alignment set, so we'll just, I don't think that makes a difference, but this should be enough. Is the stack panel orientation horizontal on its test? Oh, that's a great question. This is a... So no, there's a vertical stack panel that contains two dock panels. So he's just using the dock panel to set the text block to the top, and then the time picker does fill on the rest of the dock panel. Which actually now makes me question something, right? Does this actually like change anything? No. Okay. Let's come over here. See, neither of these ones picked this up. So now it makes me also want to go, let's look. Is this behind? So 13 commits behind. I wonder if it's 13 commits behind, are there any commits that should have... Yeah, it could be. As far as the breaking change to it. The thing is, the breaking change on the 3.0 text box was all around just the placement of it. So vertical alignment should have vertical alignment stretch and vertical content alignment top. The thing is this is actually fairly accurately demonstrating that that this style is changing this, right? Like if I go through and make this thing 200, that's clearly made that thing 200, which is fine, but I don't understand why this recreates the bug and my change over here doesn't. I mean, there's obviously several things at play here. I've got a stack panel versus a dock panel. Okay. Mine are inside of this XAML display. We're using the same style. I'm very confused. Again, I think my fix will do it, but I don't understand why this isn't fixing it, or why this isn't recreating it. Okay, so just in the interest of sanity, copy, paste. Right? I don't think that changed anything. It's a value of 200. I mean, let's take this, I guess, one step further, right? Let's actually go straight down on this guy, and I'll put it right inside. So show me XAML display resources, implicit style right there, right? This should have. I'm very confused why his implicit style is working and mine's not. Something's off. Okay. Let me check the app.xaml. It's about as bare bones as you can possibly make it. This is a fairly good repro app. Like, this is what I like to see. It's as small as you can possibly make it and demonstrate the bug. Oh, I wonder. Because it is interesting that these things are. Okay, so here's a hunch, because here is something else that's different. Oh, mine doesn't actually have it included. I was expecting to see. I was expecting to see the optional resource dictionary included, but it's not there. Okay. This is weird. I guess that's not needed. Clear that out. Sometimes you just delete some code. Interesting. This is going to now bother me. Why? Okay. Let's actually try some stuff. So this is similar to the bug we saw the other night where Snoop all of a sudden couldn't snoop apps. Set the height of my time picker to 200 and it breaks. So you're saying, okay. So in his app, his time picker is free to expand, and in mine, we're saying it's not. Let's see. So in my app, you're saying that once we do that, success. Thank you. Thank you, Metal Slug. So basically, mine was being restricted and had its height locked down, therefore it wasn't showing up. Okay. That makes me feel much better. Thank you. Yeah, it is worth noting there are some text box breaking changes as far as the alignment, and so I think the 3.0 breaking changes are probably masking the issue a little bit, because they changed it to the text box stretching to fill its space rather than previously there was, and don't quote me on this, I think it was vertical alignment bottom, so the text would always go down to the underline, which was fine in some cases, but it was a difference in behavior from people with who were expecting normal WPF behavior, because it meant you installed material design and now your text boxes don't behave like they did before, which is not good. We want this to be a drop-in replacement. Okay, so back to the fixie part. So we need, let's see, this guy Alright, so we need to drop one of these guys in, so static time picker text box. So in the static constructor, we're going to drop in this. Whoa. Not even close to what we wanted. Let's try that again. Okay, so we need to change some of these types up. So that goes there. That's no longer needed. That goes there. That goes there. And then that's no longer needed. Great. Okay, so this goes through and sets it up so that it has its own style key. So it'll be pointed at time picker text box rather than the text box one, which is, this is ultimately the line that's going to fix the problem. So if we come back over here and go up and change this to a time picker text box, right? And then we need to change our time picker up. Let's see here. Nope, not that one. I need to come down here, because when you're declaring parts for your control, you have to indicate the type that they need to be. And I think what we're going to do is change this one to be a time picker text box. Right? And this is ultimately the change why I don't want to put it in 301, because this is a breaking change for anybody who's retemplated this control. Because now this control is saying that we need the implementation to be a time picker text box, not a regular text box, which I think is reasonable. While we're in here, let's do some formatting and clean this up, because we want consistent formatting, and I think that's fine. That's fine. Are you seriously suggesting use statement body for members? No. No. I'm sorry, ReSharper. I have to reject your options. Let's see. Possible null ref. Easy enough to fix. The only way the dispatcher is ever null is if the control isn't actually hooked up to a visual tree. So unlikely to ever occur, but we'll just make it happy. And let's see here. So this, use pattern matching, save us a little trouble. What is going on here? Why do we have so many parentheses? I think the white space is more clear about the order here. Just do that. That lines up nicely. That lines up there. Don't need a lot of extra space if it's not going to add any readability value. Opening. Clean the spelling up. I was probably the one who misspelled it. I'm horrible at that, which is why I always have to install a spell checker. Okay, so that goes there, that goes there, that changes there. Great, relaunch. Now, this should just work, I hope. Mostly because I'm out of Mountain Dew. Which means my ability to turn caffeine into code is going to quickly diminish very rapidly. Okay. Oh, not good. Not good. Why did you still override? Okay, so let's drop this in. And let's take a quick look at this guy. Text box view, content host. Boom. The style is still set. Why would you... material design text box base. I'm just curious why you're picking up so much height. Let's see. Actual height. Ah, ha, ha. Yeah, Metal Slug, I might have to retract what I said before about this not being related to that breaking change. Because I'm pretty sure if I go through and look at the vertical alignment of this guy, that's definitely contributing. Let's do this real quick. I sort of am curious. Let's see. Can I just open folder? That's what I want. Gimme. Gimme. Copy. And then I want to go over here. Open. Jump me up a level. Jump me down a level. Replace all the files. I just sort of want to test this against this code here, since I've got it down already. And we'll rebuild just for good measure and see what happens. Yeah. Because setting it sort of makes sense that if we've got a fixed height on our time picker, that it draws that big. And that's where I think that the breaking text box change actually comes into play. Because like on our app where we went through and, let's see, pickers here, where we set the height, it sort of makes sense that the text box would expand, because at some point something has to expand. And that's where I think the change from top to stretch. But I'm still very confused as to how this works. The other thing that I'm noticing is this is running .NET Core. I don't think that should make a difference. Okay. But it is important to note the fix does address it here. So regardless of how it's supposed to work, changing out the text box type then stops the implicit breaks here. So I think that's what I still want to do, is this change here. But I also think that I want to kick this guy into the next release. So we're going to change some stuff up here. Let's change some stuff up. So pull back, switch to master, come over here, this. So I want the time picker XAML change. See, white space. Change the text box type. Good. The time picker itself, change the template type. White space change. Null propagation fix. Pattern matching change. Spelling fix. And white space change. Good. This is the new class. Great. And we're going to ignore all the demo stuff. Oh. Still wanted that. That's the X I want. So create branch here. Fix. And where there? Okay, so this guy passed. Confirm squash merge. Boom. Delete. Pretty sure GitHub should have closed this guy for me. Great. Fixed this guy here. So 1554. 1554. Changing text box inside of time picker to be derived class. this matches how the date picker works, and events the styles from accidentally changing it. Right? Boom. And fix all of my spelling mistakes. Let's pull down that latest change on master. We'll rebase ourselves over the top of it. Great. And then, what, did you just blow away my commit message? Oh. Jerk. Threw away my changes in the, I guess because it did a stash push pop. Okay, fine. Change time picker text box to a class. Fix that. This matches how the date picker works and prevents styles from affecting it. How about implicit styles on text box? Great. Commit, push, submit, and this guy here is going to get moved over because I don't want to push that in a point release. Compare and pull request, and let's see. Sure, fine. And you're going to go in 3.10 with it. Let's see. Fixes pound 1554. Great pull request. There we go. Okay, so that takes care of that, and I believe that clears out the milestone. Woot woot woot. Okay, so 14 bugs and pull requests and et cetera stuff in here. The key issue that's being fixed in this release when I get it out the door is actually this other pinned one here. The version numbers on the DLLs were not being set properly inside of the pipeline. So I have addressed that. I did not realize that was happening. It was building up the right versions on the NuGet packages, but not properly versioning the DLLs. So I apologize for that. So yeah, my plan is hopefully to kick out the 301 release, not tonight because I'm tired and out of caffeine. But hopefully, I would say hopefully by this weekend. I don't, pending stuff coming up. My son has a birthday, so I'm going to be busy with that. But as soon as I find some time to write some release notes on this and click some buttons, it should go out the door. There will be a nightly release that comes out tonight. That's probably going to be the release that goes out the door, unless I try to sneak in one or two more things into this. But really, this versioning thing is the big fix that's going to be going with the 301. So other than that, mostly the exact same stuff. I don't think there were any other major changes that went along with it. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Metal Slug, thanks for hanging out and helping me fix all of my stupid mistakes. It's been fun. And hopefully do this again. I may try to do a couple more ad hoc streams while I'm on vacation. So I have time off work, and so might as well write some more code, right? Because I don't get enough of that during the day. So you guys have a good night, and we'll see everybody again next week. Thanks.